This is the KitchensinkWP podcast, episode 495.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the KitchensinkWP podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. Got a lot to talk about this week. All right, first and foremost, Community Summit 2023 is August 22nd and 23rd. That is a few days prior to the next event, of course. It's up in DC and Maryland area. It precedes WordCamp US, which is also coming up this week, August 24th, 5th, and 6th, and I will be at that WordCamp. I am planning on going. I'm only going to be there for a few days, technically, not the whole time, only because it is my wife's birthday on the 26th, and I'm going to come back and celebrate with her since she will be in the country, not working this year, which is kind of rare for her as a flight attendant. She's been usually working those weekends. Anyway, so Community Summit, it was invite only, but it's the 22nd and 23rd. WordCamp US is the 24th through 26th. So I hope to see you there. If you're there, please, by all means, reach out. I'd love to meet you and say hi. Okay. Also, WordCamp Denmark is the 26th and 27th of August as well. So we got a lot going on this coming up week. So pretty cool. If you're there, by all means, make some connections, meet people, share what you can, learn what you can. All right, moving on. Segment one in the news. A few things to talk about here as well. First and foremost, the WordPress Community Summit Travel Fund got $48,000 in assistance for the attendees. That's pretty cool. I'll put a link in the show notes about that. So I guess a lot of that cost was covered by different companies. Pretty cool. Automatic is one of them as well. So also in the news, the clock for the acquisitions has had to be reset because group.one acquired 3 plugins: BackWPup, Adminimize, and Search and Replace plugin. So I guess they're a European cloud hosting company. They acquired all 3 of those from Inspired. So yeah, check that out if you're interested in that kind of thing. Link in the show notes there as well. So, all right, is that it for the news, upcoming events and news? Yeah, that's it for upcoming events and news. Moving on to segment 2, meat potatoes of this week's episode. But first, a word from this week's sponsor.
If you're a content creator like me, then you're probably in need of an easy way to increase user engagement and reduce user attrition. Lucky for me, I found Bread and Butter IO. What does Bread and Butter IO do? Well, they help small businesses on WordPress to convert more visitors into customers. How, you ask? By making it easy to implement single sign-on, aka SSO, which will future-proof your website. A few of the major features that Bread and Butter provide are the ability to use SSO for content gating and lead capture, as well as universal newsletter sign-up. Bread and Butter also integrates seamlessly with other tools like Zapier, Slack, Google Analytics, and your email service provider. Like analytics? Well, Bread and Butter has you covered there too. With the ability to track page views, see where the users came from, and track the user journey. Oh, and all that data fully exportable. With full white glove service and 24/7 support, Bread and Butter IO is impressive. With prices starting at free, yes, free, you really have nothing to lose in trying it out. So head over to breadandbutter.io to learn more and sign up today.
Once again, thanks breadandbutter.io for sponsoring this week's podcast. Really appreciate having you on board. It's been awesome. All right, moving on, segment 2, listener Q&A. That's right, it's been another 8 weeks, has flown right on by. So that means I do another Q&A. People send in questions over the time, over 8 weeks, 10 weeks ago. I save them and I answer them here for you. So here we go. I have, I think, 4 this week. This one sent in by Julie B. Question was, what are the best SEO plugins for WordPress? Well, my default on this has always been Yoast, but in doing some research, I wanted to see what else was out there these days, getting some opinions from other users. Apparently, there are a handful, one of those being All-in-One SEO Pack, very popular, very similar sets to Yoast. Another one called Rank Math. It's a little bit newer on the SEO plugin space. It's gaining popularity in recent years. SEO Press, I had not heard of that one. And then also the SEO Framework. That one comes back showing a little bit more advanced options in that, some flexibility there as well. But I have not used any of the other ones, honestly. I just use Yoast. So for me, that's the best one. I hope that helps you, Julie. But it's pretty popular. I'm a fan of how it works. It's simple. So yeah, and when we set up sites for clients, we do the basics unless they pay more, but we do the basic SEO setup with Yoast. Okay, moving on to the second question here. This one's sent in by Carl R. What WordPress plugins do you start every new WordPress site with? Is there a set of plugins that are a must for every WordPress site you build? Yes. I've talked about this in the past, I believe, and this comes up from time to time, once every couple of years. Currently, pretty basic setup. So I actually have two setups, technically speaking, on my dev server. We'll get to that in a minute. But they always include, for example, some are e-commerce, some are not. But basically, Beaver Builder plugin and the theme, as well as Themer and the child theme. So that's kind of like the baseline. So of course, two of those are themes, but the rest are plugins. The Beaver Builder plugin and Themer are both plugins. Gravity Forms for forms. Yoast, like I just said before. User Profile Switcher. I think it's invaluable because that way, if we're doing some sort of testing with how somebody might see the site that's not an admin, we want to use that. What else? E-commerce stuff. So on the e-commerce side, I'll use Woo or EDD. Learning management system, we'll use Lifter. So again, those are kind of defaults in those needs. WordFence and Google Analytics. And there's actually one more that just came to me and popped in my head. I just can't remember what it was all of a sudden regarding to, member. There's one that's where you can set people's membership user levels. I can't think of what it's called off the top of my head, but nonetheless, it's out there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, pretty light, basic use of how I set up sites in our default setups. Again, Beaver Builder across the board, Gravity Forms, Yoast, User Profile Switcher, e-commerce, we use Woo or EDD, depends on the product or what the site really needs. For learning management, Lifter, WordFence. Did I mention WordFence? WordFence for basic security, and a Google Analytics plugin. Lately, I've been using the Monster Insights one. People love it, people hate it. We still use it. It works. It's fine for basic stuff. So anyway, I hope that answers your question, Carl. If anyone else has any favorites that they think I should look at or add, by all means, let me know. All right, moving on to the other question. This one's anonymous, and I know why, because this is going to bring up a lot of potential queries, I guess. Who offers the best inexpensive WordPress hosting? This is anonymous. Yikes. So there is no perfect hosting company out there. Everyone has had some not so great experience at some time. I have as well. Depending on what you need, from speed, backups, e-commerce, scalability, email, all that kind of stuff, root access, it just depends on really what you are looking for. So with that said, I have narrowed down. I used to have like 4 or 5 different hosting companies I would work with or have access to, or some free accounts. I am currently down to 2 hosting companies that I use primarily. That first one is Flywheel. It works for me. It works pretty well for what I'm doing. And the other one is Cloudways. And on Cloudways, I use that for a lot of development sites, as well as some live sites, but those are pretty much low bandwidth needs, like pretty basic 1 to 2 page websites. Keep in mind, neither one of those offer email at all. So for that, I use Hover, Hover, and Hover is also where I buy my domains as well, and where I refer clients to buy domains if I want to make sure they own them. So again, as far as other companies, SiteGround's pretty solid cost-wise. Flywheel's basic one site's affordable. It just depends. There are so many hosting companies out there. It just really depends on what your needs are. So I use Flywheel. I use Cloudways. I've just kind of narrowed things down recently. So there are other companies too, but those are what I use currently, Mr. Anonymous or Mrs. Anonymous. Okay. And the last question of the day here is, this is something by Erica. I think I might know Erica from California. How much should a custom WordPress website cost? Well, Erica, totally 100% standard answer. It depends. I mean, there are so many factors. Is the person building the site doing all the work themselves? Design, implementing the theme, are they, coding and things? Or is it like my setup where I have a team involved, a designer, a project manager, a developer, a QA person? Content person. It really depends on that. So in searching a wide swath of Google, if you will, I found prices vary widely, obviously. A brochure site may cost $1,000 to $3,000. An intermediate site, which again is dependent on how you define as intermediate. Is it page count? Is it functionality? Could be $3,000 to $8,000. An advanced site could be $20,000 or more. And for the record, I literally just quoted 3 days ago, someone asked me in my circle of my men's group that I'm in, how much would an e-commerce site cost with Woo? And that's all the information I had. So I gave the answer. Starting e-commerce sites for my company, we start at $20,000 and it goes up from there. I can't give any more information until I know more. Do discovery, do some scope of what they have, what they need. Do they need hosting? And that, of course, let's not forget that. Ongoing costs, domain, hosting, maintenance, premium plugins, services, APIs. So it really is a very wide ranging question. So a custom WordPress website, I'm going to say, for us, it starts at probably at 9 to 12,000. E-commerce, 20 and up. Learning management, same kind of range. Not that it's hard, but we know how to do it, and we know the questions to ask, and that takes that time, that experience. So I think that's important. That has value. And I have people to pay. I got to make money as well. I got to pay my people, and I got to make a profit. So there's that. So I hope that answers your question, Erica. If you want to talk more about it, let me know. All right. Is that it? Yeah, that's it for the questions. Cool. Right on. Moving on. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's tip, it's a website. It's over at nga.gov. Actually, it's the National Gallery of Art. If you're looking for some free public domain art, I don't think I've mentioned this in the past. Maybe I have. It's been so long. Anyway, pretty cool website. So check it out. It's over at nga.gov/open-access-images.html. I'll put a link I'll put a link obviously in the show notes. So, but if you're looking for some, art for placeholders or for your website, it's open, it's free, etc. So public domain. All right, that is it this week. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use that speak pipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon. That'd be awesome. You could also buy me a coffee. There's a link on the website, I believe. You can sponsor the show, like breadandbutter.io, forum on the website for that. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out to some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.